how the locals responded. Like we've had the chief of the local area down here and other officials. Are they helpful? Or?
I think that, I mean, from the local community we're very much welcomed. I think everybody's very willing to see us doing a project that's very needed here. We've met the chief. He's shared with us that it's something that doesn't really exist in this area, and we've seen from all the orphans coming that there's not any facility. So I think they all welcome it. A lot of people are appreciating the fact that they walk past and see us with a pickaxe in our hand and moving stones and things. But I think the more it goes up the official ladder, then people seem to only show an interest because there's white money and a possible bribe. You know, that's what we felt so far. You know, they come saying that they're interested and they want to do good and help us, but often there's a sort of side story.
Do you come across that in other countries as well, or?
Yes. I mean, in Sierra Leone we have to pay you can apply for your teachers to be paid by the government. It would take usually, I think they said 6 months or a year, but then if we don't pay the bribe, then it could take 3 years. And there's just lots of stuff like that, but not too bad, you know. If you go in and you're working through people like Tom, and you know, you get the chief on board, you can generally make sure that stays at a minimum.
What do you see, OrphFund, in 10 years' time? You'll be 43.
If you asked me 2 days ago, I would say in the dustbin. I was so ill. But no, I spend all year working in my little office in my home. You know, making sure projects that we've set up are running well, setting up new projects, finding new volunteers and raising money. And when I come out here, this is the moment where I most feel like you can see that it's all worthwhile. And the buzz continues despite any sicknesses or any sort of fatigue. Whilst you're here, when you leave you realise that you've just changed 85 kids' lives dramatically, given them much more than they would have ever got without us arriving. And then I think also it extends out to the community. You know, we've employed a lady that can't walk to make sock monkeys. We've got a lady that's got HIV that's going to be a head carer with her children here. So we're reaching out and giving a lot of people a lot of hope. The plan is for that to continue. I've got projects, proposals from India, Malawi, Haiti, quite a few others, Uganda, and I'd love to help them all, you know, but we just want to make sure that each one is run like the last one.
And it can sustain itself?
Yeah, I mean, that's the challenge. Like, Sierra Leone's been running for 2 years, and I'm hoping within the next 6 months that it could be almost running itself. So if we can do that in Sierra Leone, where that's the hardest place we've been to, then I reckon we can do it anywhere. Yeah, it's a challenge to find ways to generate money in places where there isn't money, but we seem to be able to do it. And if we can do that through solar power and buying mini buses and things like that, then we can definitely do it here. We're already working on plans of setting up farms and pineapple crops and raising chickens and cows. So if we can make them sustainable, then that's when the next project can come in the next one. Being paid, you know, my brother worked for a charity in England, and he showed me what he had to do, a newsletter. And the newsletter, I think they employed 4 different people: photographer, graphic designer, he had to write it, and someone else had to go out and source other stuff, you know, and that's for a little newsletter that a few people might read. So I just think that there is a need for them to be business-like, but I think now we want to be the biggest charity, the best known charity, and not necessarily. It feels like a lot of them are losing their goals, you know. I think, like, yeah, there's certain things that I don't really think are going to change. I think things like this change the future of Africa and all other countries living in a bit of poverty. If you don't get hands-on, then you're not going to change anything.
Yeah. Well, let's see. And then, I know we're going to do sponsoring the child later. That's classic. I know we're going to talk about sponsoring a child later, but can we just talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, you can do it now.
In depth. I mean, yeah, how important is it that we've got 85 children?
Yep.
I've already seen one I'd like to sponsor myself, but how do you know what it's like? How important is it for the other 84 that they find a sponsor?
The sponsorship, you know, we're small. We've got 100 orphans in Sierra Leone, a school in Cambodia. We've got probably about 60 of the orphans in Sierra Leone sponsored, which covers about half the running costs. So we're still having to each month find more and more money to keep that going. And here, yeah, we've just taken on 85 orphans. The whole project becomes completely unsuccessful and ineffective if we don't find sponsors for them, if we don't get the money coming in to put the food on the tables. We're building this to offer them better than what they're getting, which is pretty, I mean, they're not getting a lot at all, but it's, yeah, without sponsorship our project falls apart within the next year or two. So yeah, we urge people to, you know, get behind it and spare a little bit. The money goes straight to this centre where the child lives, and it provides them with food, healthcare, it pays for care workers, it yeah, shelter, everything you need, education, everything you need for a brighter future, Jamie.
And there's a couple of Ranger strips in there as well.
There are, yeah.
Outstanding.
Unfortunately, a couple of Arsenal ones. How did they go through the filter system?